Every great club has its legends, its heroes, the players who defined an era and carry the hopes of millions on their shoulders. For Manchester United, a club steeped in history and glory, that role once belonged to players like George Best, Eric Cantona, and Cristiano Ronaldo. But in the post-Ferguson years, a new figure emerged, a local boy with the talent, passion, and drive to reignite the fire at Old Trafford. His name is Marcus Rashford. From the moment he announced himself to the world with 2 goals on his debut, it felt like destiny. A kid from Wythenshawe, rising through the academy and stepping onto the biggest stage with fearless determination. He wasn't just a footballer, he was a symbol of hope, the embodiment of what Manchester United really could be again. But in football, dreams rarely stay perfect. Rashford's career, once a fairy tale of epic proportions, has hit a crossroads. This season, the goals have dried up, the confidence seems to have waned, and the questions are getting louder. What happened to the boy wonder who once seemingly carried a struggling giant on his back? Circling back to his debut, Rashford's first taste of senior football was the stuff of dreams. A brace against Midtjylland in the Europa League, followed days later by 2 more goals against Arsenal. It wasn't just his goals that caught the eye. It was his composure, his energy, and his connection to the fans. A native of Manchester coming through the academy and lighting up Old Trafford. In a post-Ferguson era defined by chaos and inconsistency, Rashford felt like a throwback to the United of old. He reminded fans of the excitement Ronaldo brought when he was breaking onto the scene, raw, electric, and fearless. Rashford carried the weight of expectations on his shoulders, and for years, he delivered. His 2022-2023 season was arguably his peak. Over 30 goals in all competitions, decisive moments in Europe, and an aura of confidence that suggested he was ready to lead United back to glory. But then, things began to unravel. This season, Rashford has managed just 4 goals, a far cry from the form we saw just a year ago. His XG numbers are down, his touches in the opposition box have decreased, and his pressing stats paint a picture of a player who's less involved and less effective. And it's not just the numbers. On the pitch, Rashford's body language tells its own story. Frustration, lack of urgency, and moments where he looks disconnected from the game. Off the pitch, the cracks are showing too. A recent night out led him to being benched by manager Ruben Amorim, raising questions about his discipline and commitment. Part of Rashford's struggles can be linked to United's broader issues. Ruben Amorim's tactical system hasn't fully suited Rashford's strengths. As a wide forward, Rashford thrives on space and direct runs, but Amorim's approach demands more defensive work, quick link-ups, and adaptability to play different roles. Rashford hasn't looked comfortable in this system, and the lack of cohesion in United's attack has only magnified the problem. Then there's the mental side. Rashford himself has spoken about how important mentality is in football, saying it's probably 95% of the game. But after years of carrying United through difficult times, the pressure seems to be taking its toll. When you add the scrutiny of being a one-club player, the expectations of being the next great number 10, and the relentless spotlight of social media, it's no surprise that Rashford looks mentally drained out there. Even legends like Ronaldo and Rooney, players who thrived under Ferguson's iron will, had moments when the pressure felt overwhelming. The difference? They had a winning environment to fall back on, something United haven't been able to provide since Ferguson left. So where does Rashford go from here? Well, there's growing speculation about a move away from Old Trafford. PSG are reportedly interested, and there's talk of a swap deal with Napoli for Victor Osimhen. Both moves have their merits. PSG could give Rashford the freedom to thrive in a less demanding league, while Napoli's style could reignite his attacking instincts. But leaving United isn't just a football decision, it's an emotional one. For Rashford, this isn't just a club, it's home. Walking away from that is no small step. If there's one thing that Rashford's journey reminds us of, it's how quickly things can change in football. A player who once symbolized United's future is now facing questions about whether he belongs in their present. And it's not the first time we've seen this. United's post-Ferguson era is littered with players who've struggled to adapt. Adnan Januzaj, Memphis Depay, and Paul Pogba even at times. This isn't just about Rashford, it's about the environment at United. Under Ferguson, players didn't just develop, they thrived because the culture demanded it. Without that foundation, even the most talented players can lose their way. At 26, Marcus Rashford still has time. He's not the first player to face a dip in form, and he won't be the last. The question is, can he rediscover the fire that made him one of football's brightest stars? And can Manchester United create an environment that allows players like him to succeed in the future? The truth is, Rashford's story may be over at United, but his story as a player still has plenty of time to change. Whether he stays or moves on, his next chapter will define how he's remembered. Not just as a player, but as a symbol of what Manchester United stands for. Because in football, it's not just about where you start, it's often about where you finish.